here it is, my most anticipated electric scooter of 2025, the InMotion RS Jet. Now, I reviewed the original InMotion RS over on Electric Scooter Guide's channel, and the InMotion RS Jet is the sequel to that scooter and is supposed to, as far as I understand, correct a lot of the small issues I had with the original RS. I'll talk about some of those as we look and see if they've changed those things that I'm hoping they change, but let's crack it open. I am so stoked to ride this thing. We'll go on an initial ride and I'll tell you my initial impressions, and then I will do a full review in the future after I get a little bit more time on this thing. So let's crack it open. Let's go. So one of my biggest complaints with the original RS was the folding mechanism, and it looks like they've changed it and I already like it a lot better. So far, so good. Here's the second change that I was hoping they do. They went from the twist throttle to a thumb throttle. Very nice. The twist throttle in theory sounds good, but in practice is not optimal for a scooter like this. I have a whole video going over the pros and cons of different throttle types, and I talk a lot about twist throttles in that. I genuinely think that for these high-end sports scooters, thumb throttle or trigger throttle is the way to go. So before you twist the sections of the handlebar on, which is a very interesting system, I've never seen this before, you do have to feed these brake lines through and out the bottom and then connect them here. So it's a little tedious. I'll do it in just a second. Let's keep opening this up. In the box, you get a 2.8 amp charger, so a little bit faster than normal, but I wouldn't call this a fast charger necessarily. Kind of 4 amps and higher is what I consider fast charging. You get a nice big metal fender for the back. Now, it was this other fender, this plastic one that comes pre-installed, that actually fell off after like the second ride when I was testing the original RS. They told me that they fixed that for the production models of the RS, so I assume that on the Jet you won't have the fenders falling off after 20 miles or whatever. Get your user manual and all your tools. Get a nice big front headlight. We'll put that to the test and see if you're still going to need an additional light or if this is going to be more than enough for night riding. So another complaint I had with the original RS was the kickstand, and you couldn't adjust the kickstand based on which height level you were running the RS at. And so I definitely feel like that was an oversight on their part, and they've corrected it here. Now, the original RS had a couple rough parts, like I've pointed out. This, however, has a super polished feel to it. So I'll get these handlebars on, and then we'll take it for its first ride, and I'll give you my first impressions of it. Let's go. Okay, I'm cutting in here because I am putting this scooter together. Let me just get a couple things off my chest. So when you're screwing the handlebars on, first off, the system doesn't make any sense. You have to thread this brake line right here through. So it's disconnected. You feed this end through. You don't plug it in yet. You screw this whole bar on. I'm not going to show you because I finally have got these arranged. I've been working on this for like 45 minutes just to get these adjusted properly, and you can see that I still have not put all of my other components in place. You have this nut and this washer, so you need to make sure you pull this washer out of the included bag over there. You feed that on before, then you feed the brake line in, then you screw this handlebar section in until it gets to the point where these are the turn signals are oriented correctly and that it's bumped up as far as it can, and then you have to finish screwing in this nut so it presses down this washer, this spring washer properly, and line everything up, and then you have to do it on both sides. And then there's no advantage to this. I don't understand. I don't understand why they chose this. It doesn't make any sense to me why this is the system they decided to go with. There's no customizability here. You can't put your own handlebars on it anymore. Such a weird system. I'm very genuinely confused by it. However, like I said, this is just the assembly process, and the assembly process is such a small part of owning the scooter. So let's actually go jump on it now, and if the scooter's amazing, all of this will, feel really small in the grand scheme of things. All right, here we are for the InMotion RS Jet first ride. You couldn't ask for a more perfect backdrop. We're up here near Mount Charleston by Las Vegas. And yeah, let's go rip with this bad boy. So technically this is not the first ride I've ever done on this. I actually brought it up here a few days ago and it started raining, and the rain didn't let up, and I wasn't gonna do the first ride and try and test the acceleration and top speed and stuff in the wet. So this is the first dry ride. However, I have got an idea of what this thing is capable of, and holy cow, is this a fun scooter. I mean, I never really doubted it, but let's go rip. So what's there to say? First off, no NFC chip, no key, no nothing. So nice. Second off, just absurd acceleration. This thing just like, I think they claim a 3.5 second 0 to 30, and I absolutely believe it. This thing just, you look down and all of a sudden you're going 40 miles an hour. It's so effortless, it's so smooth. It's the kind of smooth, powerful acceleration that really only a few scooters I've ever tested have been able to match. It does feel like it's either the road or there is a little bit of front tire unbalance, so I'm getting a little bit of wobble above about 45. It's not speed wobble, it's front wheel wobble. And there's actually some good tutorials online on how to balance your tires, and that's something you're gonna want to do once you get up to these top speeds. It's honestly something that I wish that these brands would do from the factory, like you do with a car. But what else? We've got a thumb throttle now instead of the twist throttle. Amazing. That was something that I did not like with the RS, the original RS, and now we have this thumb throttle. I would have liked the longer travel one, the one with the longer arm. I think you get a little bit more control, but you do get that dead zone, which a lot of people don't like. I don't mind that dead zone personally, but as I'm using this thumb throttle, these controllers are so good. I mean, honestly, I actually don't mind it at all. I was afraid that like I was gonna wish it had a different thumb throttle, but as I use this, the scooter is so smooth and responsive that you could probably throw just about any throttle on here and it would feel amazing. So suspension wise, I have it dialed all the way up to the maximum, or like the slowest rebound, and it's still a little bouncy for my taste. Obviously the handlebar setup is really annoying, and it would have been nice to be able to put my own bars on this theoretically, but now that I'm out here riding, I think the whip is money on them. They're super solid. I mean, there's no wobble or wiggle. There's also no wiggle or wobble in that stem. All of that front handlebar play is entirely just suspension. It's actually such a good scooter. It feels really planted, but it doesn't feel like it feels planted, so it doesn't feel squirrely, but it also feels a lot lighter and nimbler than the original RS. It has that like sharp, cutty feel to it that I really like from like the Nami Klima and other like sporty scooter like the Max Fun 10 Pro, where you have that power at your fingertips, but you also have that control. Some other cool features, you get a touch screen, which is really nice, and you can just go into all the stuff that would normally be P settings and just go ahead and change it. You can change like the electronic braking force, the acceleration force between 0 start and cruise control. You can choose how long it takes till it goes on standby. It also has a park mode, but you can change that park mode to be a full minute and a half before it goes into park mode, so it's not going into park mode while you're stopped at a stop sign or something. Okay, let's pull the draggy out and let's get some unofficial 0 to 30 times. I don't think there's a great super flat stretch in here, but we can get a ballpark, and then in the full review, I'll do it a little bit more scientifically, find the flattest ground I can and test it both directions. Okay, we got Draggy set up to record our 0 to 10 time, 0 to 15 time, and the most important 0 to 30 time. Again, I think they said 3.5 seconds, if I'm remembering correctly. So like anything under 5 seconds is super fast. Honestly, you can kind of equate it to a car's 0 to 60. You know, under 6 seconds is speedy, 5 is really fast, 4 is like high-end sports car, and then as soon as you get into the 3s, you're talking hyper car, hyper scooter. So nothing too official here. Let's just go for it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And 30. Man, that had to be close. That definitely had to be close to that 3.5 second mark. I almost felt like it didn't fully lay down all the power right away. Maybe that acceleration curve is controlled a little bit. Maybe that's why it feels so smooth. Kind of, it's mitigating some of that wheel spin. Let's see. 3, 2, 1. There's a little wheel spin, but honestly, I'm also impressed at how well it just lays down the power. You really get up to that 30, 40 miles an hour really, really fast. I haven't pushed it much past 40 since, you know, this is my first ride here. But when we get to some flat ground, we'll open it up just a little bit more. Okay, so for 0 to 30 times, we're looking at 4.8 seconds, 4.2 seconds, 5 seconds. So we're looking anywhere from 4 to 5 seconds right now. So we'll see in the full review if I can get it under that 4 second mark. Keep in mind that I was just accelerating like I normally would. And I think we can, on flat ground with the right conditions, hopefully drop it down under that 4 second mark. The claim top speed on this thing I think is 50 miles an hour, which is more than enough. I honestly think like that 40, 43, 45 zone is like perfect for scooters. Beyond that, it goes out of the, you know, the realm of practicality. And I'd rather have them just crank up the acceleration, which it seems like InMotion got the memo on that and has done exactly that on the Jet. Instead of going for a 60 mile an hour scooter, which no one's really going to use the full 60 miles an hour other than to go, oh, I have a 60 mile an hour scooter. But they've dialed that back to, you know, 50 is not reasonable, but it's more reasonable than 62 or whatever the RS did before. I'm a big fan of that philosophy. We're catching the car in front of us. Let's see. 46, 48, 50. That was downhill, but that got up to 50 really easily. I'm thinking 50 is a conservative top speed estimate. Yeah, I can't tell if it's the road or if it's a little bit of imbalance in that front wheel, but I am getting a bit of front wheel wobble there. Again, not speed wobble, but just like, whoa, I don't want to hit a squirrel. A little bit of like front wheel bounce. Anything over like that 43, 45 mile an hour mark. So obviously in the full review, I'm going to dive deeper into all the features, but I definitely just wanted to take this out and rip around and take you guys along for my first impressions. These are the type of videos that I post for my members. So you'll get like first look at scooters that I'm riding and stuff. So if that interests you to watch more videos like this, then you can become a member down below by clicking that join button next to the subscribe button. It's only $2 a month, and that is the best way to support me, and also a chance for you to get more scooter content if you're interested in that. Let's do a little uphill riding here for a little bit, and then we'll wrap it up. Be sure to let me know down in the comments kind of what you want to see for that full review, if there's anything specific you want me to test. Obviously, this is having no issues with this hill. Looks like we're capping out around 42, but we're looking at probably 8%, 8 to 10% grade hill here, so it's eating it up. I would expect no less, but you know, still is nice to see. One of the most compelling things for me is the price. I think it's a $2,300 if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, I'll put it up on screen what the price is, but they've picked a price point that makes way more sense. They haven't tried to hit that $4,000 price point, but they've gone for a price point where like people can actually justify purchasing an electric scooter. This feels like this is a really reasonable scooter in terms of price compared to the performance you get. The riding platform is obviously smaller than the RS, but it's nice because you end up with a smaller footprint. The scooter's not as long. It's easier to load and unload and fit. Like it fits perfectly in the back of my truck. I don't have to put it sideways at all, which is really convenient when I need to haul other scooters along as well. But it's still, there's still plenty of room. It's still comfortable, and I really like the flat part of this rear tail. It's a really great place to put your foot, but then it also has a sloped part if you want to just kind of like bump your foot sideways up against that flat part, or that the steeper part. The geometry is good. It's really stable. It really is just that little bit of wheel wobble, that little bit of wheel imbalance that is causing any sort of riding issues at all. If I balance this front wheel, this should be perfectly smooth even at the highest speeds. The more I ride with the suspension, the more I feel like it's actually tuned pretty well. It's not as bouncy as it felt like when I was just standing on it. Honestly, it's such a good scooter. It's genuinely a fantastic scooter. I don't know, like I said, all my complaints about the assembly feel really small now because it's just a fantastic scooter to ride. It's compelling. It's compelling in the same way that the Nami Klima is for me, where when you go out, it doesn't matter where you're riding or how long you're riding for, you're happy to be out riding. It's comfortable, it's fast, it's stable. I did tighten up this front steering damper. I didn't tighten it all the way, but I did tighten it a little bit, and it feels like it's like the perfect amount. I'm not seeing any steering wobble. I like that the damper's built in. You don't have to have this big bulky pole that you attach after, and it doesn't squeak like the RS did. The RS made an awful squeak when the damper was tightened down when you moved the wheel at all. So yeah, thanks for riding along with me during these first impressions. Leave any thoughts you have down below, and again, whatever you want to see for that full review. I'm going to take my time on this full review. I'm going to get some good testing in, try and put some real miles on this, because I had a feeling this was going to be a special scooter, so I didn't want to rush the review. If you want to become a channel member and support me for only $2 a month, that button is right down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.